What is the dumbest thing you've ever seen someone do in public? I was in a park in RI and saw a man take tree bark off a tree, smell it, put it in his mouth, then he started dancing around near these kids, and then he proceeded to choke a little on the bark, and someone gave him the Heimlich to get the bark out. He was fine after, but needless to say it was a messy situation. The guy that did a face-first slide across the urinal trough at Wrigley Field. I was parked at a fast food place a few months ago. Guy a few parking spots over apparently locked his keys in his truck. He didn't try to call a locksmith or roadside assistance. Didn't ask anyone if they had anything he might be able to use. He just picked up a hammer from the truck bed and smashed his back window out. Glass everywhere. I was stunned. Try to open a plastic-wrapped package of fireworks in a living room by burning the plastic off with his lighter. Somebody tried to throw something at me out of a rolled-up car window twice. My friend tried to flag down the train like you do a cab. I went to shake a glass bottle of ketchup at a restaurant on my sister's birthday to get it flowing. Turns out the cap wasn't on tight. Ketchup everywhere, over everyone within several tables booths. Like the entire bottle's worth. I don't even understand the physics of how spread out it was. Silence for a good 10 seconds, which felt like an eternity. Some guy who had ketchup on his bald head broke the silence with a "what the fuck." I was 15, didn't know what to do, said sorry to the collective and ran out. Him 63 yo. I spent 20 years involved in car racing, and I've been riding a Harley for the 30 past years. I've seen shit, but probably the dumbest thing I've seen, and I was actually involved in this, back in 1979, was a guy standing on a NASCAR plastic refueling tank, smoking a cigarette. Oh, yeah, it was leaking a bit, too. I asked him to put out the cig. He looked at me, realized that I was track, not NASCAR, and told me to go away. So I found a NASCAR official and told him. I thought he was going to crap his pants. He marched over, made the guy put out the cig and fix the gas tank, even though he claimed it wasn't his. If the tank had gone up, I doubt we'd have been able to ID the guy's remains. 26 gallons of high-octane fuel going boom would have made a hell of a mess. I saw a homeless guy beating it in the elevator of the building I live. He was really putting energy when it opened the door. Saw someone at the gas pump just glued to the screen that says the dollar and volume amounts. He was very quickly and lightly squeezing the handle as if to get the gas to round out to an even number on either value. Problem was the tank was full, so every time he squeezed, gas would shoot out of the hole and onto his hand and down his pants leg, standing in a puddle of gas, so his socks and shoes had to be soaked too. I was in middle school, so my dad was there and he ran up to the guy to tell him, and he just acted like nothing happened. The guy just responded with "oh man, I knew something wasn't right," put the handle on the holder and jumped in his car and drove off. Gas station guy had to clean it. Wonder if that guy blew up on the way home. I was at the shooting range with my husband. Usually, we'd go on Tuesday or Wednesdays when the range was pretty quiet and only the more experienced folks were there. However, one day, we decided to go on a Saturday. Big mistake. It's a bunch of young guys showing off with their new toys that they barely know how to use safely. Long story somewhat shorter, a young guy had a hangfire. He takes the gun, turns it toward his face so he can look down the barrel, I guess to see what was wrong. OMG. I don't think I've ever seen a range safety officer move so fast in my life. He basically pushed the gun barrel down range and helped the guy get things settled with the gun. He was way nicer to this guy than I would have been. Once we saw that, my husband and I packed it up, went home and never went there on a weekend again. My mother-in-law's ex-boyfriend faked a heart attack in Ryan Steakhouse to get a laugh. He fell on the floor and started twitching. None of us were laughing. It was probably the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. People all around were genuinely concerned, and once he got up and started laughing, I wish I could forget the looks on those people's faces. After my GCSE, one of my friends used a lighter and spray deodorant to make a makeshift flamethrower he used to burn our English books in the middle of a wooded park. That was pretty stupid. I watched my mom jump and try to press the light above an elevator, and then complained why someone would put the buttons so high up. Saw a guy pick up dog shit with his bare hands, sniff it, and then threw it like a baseball at first bicyclist that passed by him. Somebody attempted to put gas in their Tesla. I kid you not, that person was stumped and confused but undecided between the two. Saw a guy in my neighborhood in front of his house at night with a flashlight stepping on cockroaches in the street. He would kill them one by one and pick up the dead ones with his bare fingers and place them into his trash bin. He didn't even leave the lid open on the trash can, he fully opened it and fully closed it between each kill. He stopped at a stop sign with 2 lanes for each direction. He hits his bowl of weed and while hitting it looks out the window, and a cop was pulled up right next to him looking at him. got arrested, probation, yada yada. Few months go by, does the exact same thing, rolls up to stop sign and hits the bowl. Same COP rolled up next to him and sees him again. I once saw a guy try to jump over a fire hydrant and completely miss, resulting in a face plant on the pavement. It was equal parts hilarious and painful to witness. You see those street takeover videos where someone, sometimes multiple someones, inevitably get run over,